Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Allan and Nikki, and today we're going to talk about the challenge Double Agents, episode 15. I am joined by my lovely co-host, the Canadian Nikki Sin.
Hello, hello, hello.
Unfortunately, our other co-host, Luke, has parent-teacher conferences, and he's one of the best teachers in the world, so he has to be there. Real heartbreaking, but he'll be back with us next week. This week, we got an episode of the challenge that occurred, and that speaks volumes to what we got this week.
Yeah, because we got a whole lot of nothing, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, they put in an effort versus like the previous weeks where like we got a 60-minute episode that was like a Vine's worth of content. Like you didn't really have anything going on.
I feel like dinner was served. I don't know if every food group was represented, you know?
We got a Lunchable. They served us a Lunchable,
Yeah.
and we were like, well, I could be eating nothing. Plus, this Lunchable came with like a Butterfinger, so it's like it's not that bad. Yeah.
Is CT a Butterfinger?
Maybe. Yeah, and we've been talking about it all season. Every episode has been like solid B level quality, where you can just turn off your brain, you can kind of enjoy it. It isn't gonna sweep you off your feet, but it's been decent.
Yeah. It's definitely not like a shining season of the challenge.
It also doesn't feel like the worst either. And now though, it's starting to dip into like C plus, maybe even C minus quality with these episodes. And I mean, I've been there. I'm a B student who drops to a C near the end of the season. But if they could pick it up for the final and give us an A, then maybe they can get a B minus as a whole.
Yeah, that's what your girl used to do, you know? Round it up
Yeah,
around the
yeah.
end.
And then you go to college and you find out that a B minus isn't like a B, and you get really sad. Uh, but yeah, we're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna start by talking about the daily challenge. Some stuff happened before the daily challenge that includes a practice hall brawl between Big T and CT, which would have been way cuter had CT not left her weeks ago. But I still thought it was cute.
Yeah, I thought it was like a moment that they they used it for its purpose, but like I didn't feel as much heart as I wanted to from it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
if this happened 4 weeks ago, this would have been an all-time moment. But because of what's happened, it doesn't hit the same. Uh, I
No.
want I want to say though, on the duel one, CT would grab a little stick and practice pole wrestle while flirting with DM. So that kind of gave me a little bit of throwback vibes. But this is more of a father-daughter type thing. But she's not a daughter. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I and what can you really prepare Big T for in terms of like eliminations? Because the girls that are left in the game that she's going against, like they all have at least one advantage over her.
Agreed. And I mean, I think it's just one of those goodwill things where, like, hey, maybe you should, like, before you start karate, maybe you should take a punch to the face so you understand what it's like first. This was not obviously not anything like that, but still, it's one of those ideas of like, how do you practice for a hall brawl? And this was kind of it, but also kind of not it because you don't know how to practice for a hall brawl till you're there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they did that sort of thing.
I think it was just a big TCT thing because like they know that they're repeating the games, and it's one of those games that's only been played twice and some have been played three times. So maybe they thought it was coming up soon, which makes sense. Yeah, it was a cute moment, and then we got the daily challenge, which was the players had to jump out of an airplane, uh, and they had to see a pattern on the floor of like parachutes that are colored, or just a colored floor where you had to memorize that pattern, then run a half mile, and the team who runs that half mile and solves the pattern fastest wins the challenge.
Yeah, I was absolutely terrified just watching them do it because there's no way you're getting me jump out of a plane, let alone have my eyes open while I'm doing it. No, sorry. Screaming the whole way.
I've never gone skydiving because I think it's I think it's a waste of money. But if I could do it for free, I would totally go skydiving. I think it looks like a lifetime experience. It looks so fun. But paying lots of money to skydive, that's not really a me thing. So but like I did find it funny that Leroy, who's like terrified of heights and like terrified of jumping out of a plane, was like, well, at least Big T is more scared than I am, so that makes me happy.
Yeah, she looked so terrified, and I was like kind of mad because it seemed like everybody was like overhyping her for it. They were like, "Yeah, it's gonna be scary. It's really up there. Don't worry, Big T." I'm like, guys, leave her alone.
Well, low
Like,
key, something that no one was talking about was that Nani on Rivals 3 didn't jump out of the airplane.
oh yeah.
Like Nate took all the heat for that because it's just easy to make fun of Nate. But Nani does it. We're like, oh no, we love Nani, so who cares? But like she did overcome her fears in this moment by jumping.
I just I feel like it probably wasn't an option like in this challenge. Usually it seems like there's an option where they're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. No, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.
You know who I thought was a little bit afraid? I felt like Fessy didn't
Oh,
want to jump, and the instructor kind of had to like backpack him out of there.
yeah. It looked like Fessy's foot was like trying to catch the end of the plane door so he can like stay in.
Yeah,
He was not as confident as he was like playing up.
man, I mean, it's just so funny because we've had a player literally break his leg in a final skydiving now, and we're still doing it. But it visually, it was a cool challenge. Big T even said like the moment you get out there, it's just beautiful. But then it's funny because the guy does the parachute and you shoot back up in the air, and that when that happened, like her and Kyle specifically were just like freaking out, like why are we going up? Why are we spinning?
Yeah, they have very fair questions. And I can like see their harnesses moving and like I know myself, like given my own anxieties about movement, height, anything like that. Just the movement of like not being in your harness really. I props to Big T.
You could tell that CT liked that Big T was in front of him because he could just be scared. Because if he was in front of Big T, he couldn't be scared. But because he was behind him, he was like, I don't know about this. And like CT was there when Jordan messed up his leg. He was in that final too. Corey jumped out of the airplane as well in Rivals 3, so he was the most like hyped for this out of anyone. Uh, Leroy too as well. But yeah, as the teams went, we saw them, run the half mile. The first two teams to go were Anissa Fessy and Leroy Casey, and Leroy Casey just dominate. They just kill it.
Oh
They
yeah, they did. I was actually a little confused because when I first watched it, because I had to go back, like scroll back and watch it, I thought they would like land and then like immediately clip off and then start running. I didn't
yeah,
realize it was like drop and then wait and then oh here's a race.
I mean, I think timing everything with everyone's jumps and stuff like that would be difficult because I mean, I assume that people land at like maybe like variances of like 10 to 20 seconds. So I don't know. I thought it made sense. I agree. I thought it was the same thing you thought, but that would be very difficult to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leroy and Casey, they just kill it. They get the run done easily. They solve the puzzle real quick. Anissa, uh, my bad. It's not Anissa and Fessy. Anissa and Kyle are a team now. That's what I meant to say. And Anissa stops running really early, and Kyle is, he stops because she's so far away from him. And one of the all-time spin zone moments is after the challenge at the house. Anissa tries to say that she stopped running because she saw Kyle stop. No, you were already walking and you were like 3 miles behind him in a half-mile race. I don't know how it's possible, but you were.
Yeah, like you're gassed out. My girl, like it was so frustrating to watch that because Anissa's trying so hard to like prove she's like not this layup. She's not this like dead weight that like Kyle says she is, and all that. And then she does this. It's
It
like Kyle
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't
had to
even a
like.
quarter of a mile.
I feel like even I could have run that.
I mean, everyone could. Who can't run one lap around the track? That like before they start walking, like that is ridiculous. That's crazy, man. I couldn't believe it. Like this person says she wants to win a final when like you think about World 1 where day 1 was 24 miles. She couldn't get a quarter of a mile done in open grass. They were in a desert in that final.
Yeah,
It's
and it's not like this is like new territory for her.
bewildering.
It's not like a new puzzle she had never seen or like some eating challenge she had never been presented with. It's like this is cardio. This is running.
In a straight line.
Yeah, this is the most basic thing that you could train for.
And if she loses the challenge, she goes into elimination. And she did not give her all. She's just, it's frustrating. Casey and Leroy finished theirs before Anise is even there. Probably needs to probably take a few more minutes to get there. By the time they were done, the next round goes, and we have 3 teams: Big TCT, Cam, Corey, Nani, Fessy, and one of the things I'm like really proud of is that Corey, he says he has a photographic memory, which just isn't true. But
Yeah.
Cam's reaction was perfect to that moment.
I was like, you what?
She's like, Corey, you know how to take photos. You know how to take photos on Instagram. You don't. You don't have a photographic memory. That's what it felt like. But yeah, Corey, he says that, and he actually actively tries to memorize the puzzle because Cam is entering this partnership thinking to herself, Corey isn't good at puzzles. He's not good at the mental side of the game, and Corey's like, I'm not, but I'm gonna try hard because I want to prove to you that I'm more than physical. And like I love this part of Corey because he wants to prove to Cam that, she should want him for the final.
Yeah. And I was also like pleasantly surprised that again, our girl Big T. I think that they show Leroy and Casey down on the ground and they're like, "Oh, like I didn't realize like putting them in that order." Or sorry, Kyle, he's like, "I didn't realize putting them in that order meant Big T was at the front of the plane." I didn't understand that meant
Yeah.
she's seen everything. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, it really is one of those moments where like Big T, like if it was other people, like Big T faces her fears and she tries her best and she grows from it. She might cry along the way, but that's because she's human. And at least she gives it her all, whereas other people would just nope out immediately.
Nate it. They'd be like, Nate, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
her cardio though was not great. Slightly better than Anissa in that she pulled the fake run, where you go at a walking pace, but you're
The
moving your
legs?
arm.
Oh yeah.
You're moving your arms like you're running, and it's just like you can walk at this same pace. Like I pulled that in my life before. We've all pulled that in our lives before.
I've been in gym class, yeah. I've done
Yeah,
this.
and it's like at least she did that. And he said, "Why can't you pull the fake run?" CT's frustrated, and he tries to say like, "See, this is why I didn't pick you for the final." And it's like, dude, we know why you left her. We know why you picked Cam, but like you don't have to make your point. Like the reason we did not like your move is because you did it in a jerkish manner.
And now you're being a even bigger jerk. Like, stop.
Yeah. And I would use a word worse than jerk, but this video is going on YouTube and we want to stay monetized. So jerk, jerk head.
Yeah. Beef jerky head. Like, and he was just like, he was cruel for no reason. And, well, I guess the reason being that he was frustrated and he was upset that she wasn't running as fast as he wanted her to. But it wasn't as bad as Fessy just booking it without Donnie. Fessy's like, yep, no partners here.
Yeah.
Do.
And they were the third place team in this challenge. Nani kept a solid pace. She never stopped. The problem is she isn't as fast as Casey or Cam. Doesn't have as good cardio. when it gets to the final, Nani is going to need little things to go her way. She's going to need like maybe a swimming portion or a kayaking portion or an eating portion where someone dies out. That's her path to victory. She's going to win based off someone messing up and her just staying consistent. She's not going to dominate someone running wise.
Exactly. I and I'm all about like I feel like every week I'm on here I'm like team support, team support. Like Fessy doesn't have any of that.
No.
And I'm not gonna do another like last week's like hour-long bashing of Fessy, but
Yeah.
he just like wasn't even hyping her up. He wasn't like, "Come on, girl, let's go." Nothing.
He just lacks the self awareness, and you will talk about it more later in the drama portion, but it's a mess. And Anani hates it too. She was also sporting a really cool leather jacket this episode in our confessionals. Just a little note I have. I really enjoyed it. Really good look. And then Corey and Cam, they do really well. They run together. She stays with her mostly. At the end, he kind of pushes forward. I think it was mostly just to get a look at the puzzle. I think he wasn't trying to, pull a Fessy. I think he just saw that, like, hey, if I get here a little bit earlier, I can look at it. Because they can't touch it, but I can look at it. And Cam gets there pretty soon after. I think their two brains kind of worked against each other in this moment, similar to her and CT last week, but they still kill it. They still solve it by the time, like, Fessy and Nani get there. TJ gives the overall results, and Leroy and Casey, they win by 17 seconds. Fourth daily challenge win of the season as a pair, most by a team, and they are just killing it.
The two of them beasts.
They're just silent assassins, and this is Leroy's best season ever, like easily when it comes to daily challenges. I went through the stats, and he's competed on 7 other seasons that had 7 other partner seasons prior to Double Agents. Across those 7 seasons, he won 4 daily challenges. He's won 4 this season, so he's already tied his career total. He's the elimination guy. He's not the daily challenge guy, but he's doing he's playing politics with Cam. He's playing social game, killed Jay in elimination. It's an all-time season for Leroy, and you love to see it.
And he absolutely this no time for retirement now. Leroy.
And go out on top. That's what I always say, go out on top. Always leave them wanting more. And Casey Clark, man. Casey Clark, maybe the most underrated reality television performer ever. Character-wise, not too into it. But as a competitor, man, she's awesome. Like, just like politics, social game, physical. Like, she won Big Brother for a reason. Like, she's on this, and she's going to make her second final in 2 seasons. Always makes it to the end.
So you can say she's boring, like, all you want. Whatever. She's IKEA. She's furniture. She's a competitor.
Yeah. She's so good at this stuff.
Just because she's not, like, throwing drinks around and, like, being Josh and just
that's why she's
everyone else's business.
It's why she's good at the game,
Exactly.
So what would you grade the daily challenge portion?
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. And I'm basing that on everyone completed it. Like everyone jumped out of that plane. I was expecting some people to be like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. Can I back out? Because my palms were sweating while I was watching it. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not even in that plane. I'm like 9 out of 10.
I agree. I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. My only problem with it was that we already know that if Anissa doesn't win, it's gonna be Anissa versus Big T, and that takes the stakes out of the challenge. That's about it. I mean, if we had more inspired players, if there was a last place penalty, this would be an all-time daily challenge. But yeah, it was visually cool. Saw some good team efforts, but could have added a little bit more zest.
It felt like final worthy.
Agreed. Switching over to the drama portion now. Moving into house drama, and not really drama per se, but just house activities, we had an 80s party. And it was really cool, really fun. I wish we had more cast members in the house for this party so I could see more people in 80s gear. regardless, it was a way to spruce up the game for a show that does not have a lot of politics or drama anymore. And you could tell that production wanted them to have it because there's not much to show. But it was fun. It was still like there's some good looks.
Yeah, I liked the whole like montage that they did where they're like all getting ready and they like showed all their different looks. It brought me back to like I remember I think it was Free Agents where Kahada's like everybody's wearing all these costumes. I guess I just didn't get the memo to bring a costume with me. And I'm like,
Yeah,
everyone brought costumes, right?
they definitely gave them some stuff for like they definitely gave the people these costumes. Like this was production
Yeah.
realizing like we got a boring show going on right now. We need to have an 80s party. Uh, best look. I thought the best look of anyone was Corey. Corey went all in. He had the hair all the way.
Yep.
Corey was like he was like, yeah, I'm going all in on this 80s party. And then he looks over at Fessy like, you don't get this. You do not get the vibe at all.
He's got like the tutu and also a fanny pack and also like Mans did not get the memo.
Fessy goes to like the outdoor raves, the outdoor. I was like,
Yeah. Yep. He's giving me that outdoor rave vibe.
I
And then
thought
some,
Leroy, yeah, I thought Leroy with kind of as like the workout vibe, kind of had that vibe to him of like the guy that would do like the aerobics videos, or the
yeah.
boxing type video, like the what was his name, Billy Blank, was that his name? Cat,
Tybo.
yeah, he kind of had that vibe to him. Nani, very simple but chic look, very simple but good look to her. Bai looked great. Amber B also was a person, but she looked good. And
Forgot
yeah,
she was there. Casey had all the hair.
she looked great. She looked great too. Big T as Madonna was fantastic.
Yeah, CT as somebody's coked out dad.
And CT looked like
Coked
CT
out
actually
football
lived in the
coach.
CT actually lived through all of the 80s, but he looked like a guy from the 90s who like because he had it was just CT with hair. That was the only difference.
Yeah. They were like here and also a suit jacket. Like, wait, what?
And amongst all this, at the beginning of the episode, we have a scene with Fessy and Kyle where Fessy is kind of talking crap about CT, where he's saying like, "Hey, he's not that good anymore. I could take him any day of the week." And, and this also felt a bit staged, where maybe Fessy believes. I mean, I think Fessy believes he's better than CT, but you could tell that production's like, "Hey, we need you to be a little bit more entertaining here." Uh, and he even
Yep.
goes up to CT. It was like, "Hey, this is a young man game. You were beating people that weren't that good." And CT like brings up the fact like, I've won 2 of my championships in the last 5 years. Like I've won all my I've won in the last 8 years. Like when we had really good competition. We had like really good competition in recent years. And Double Agents and Total Madness, the 2 seasons that Fessy's been on, I'd argue are maybe 2 of the weakest male casts ever.
Yeah, he's got a lot of bars, but not enough bite for
Yeah,
me.
it's you,
He's not he doesn't have enough to like back it up with him. He's like, okay, you're a good competitor on this season. Great. That doesn't diminish CT's resume.
also if you just look back at last season, Wes and Bananas were kicking his butt in the daily challenges. Like Wes was dominating those challenges with his freaking ugly ass beard. Like not even the prime version of Wes. Like he was beating your butt. Bananas kicked your butt too in those challenges. Uh, you know, you think of all the people recently who have dropped out of the male casting pool who are really strong, like Theo, Polly, Turbo, Joss. They're not here anymore. CT won a season with those dudes on the cast, and I mean, Fessy, he's okay. I mean, he's not even like he hasn't done anything impressive this season. He beat Nelson, in which he played dirty. Uh, his second daily challenge win was the swimming challenge where everyone just threw the win to them, and the first win was because of Anissa.
Yeah, he hasn't really done anything that I find like super impressive. That's why I'm
He,
so confused why like challengers keep wanting to steal him as a partner. Why?
yeah, it's tough because Fessy, because of his own mouth, has become quietly underrated in that we all hate him now. We all just hate Fessy and think like you're a goofball. You're not as good as you think you are, and
You're the goof.
because of how much we dislike Fessy because of all of his cockiness, we kind of underrate him. But that's not. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing ever. Where I don't know. It's harder to find. It's like when people all hate a band, but they're like a top seller,
Yeah.
and it's like, are they a bad band if they're selling this many albums? Like, no, but yes, at the same time, it's a mess.
I it's a it's a messy.
Uh, and CT gets riled up during their fight, takes off his wig even. I've never seen a man take off the wig to fight.
Nani's like, you know it's real. Because CT took off his wig.
Nani the whole time, like everyone in the house was like, "Oh, great, entertainment for the first time in weeks." Everyone was just so happy to to have stuff going on in the house. Uh, Fessy said like, "Oh, why are you getting you're getting riled up? I didn't even try to go at you like that." I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah,
you
you did
totally
it.
went for him." And I will say, like CT even admitted in his confession, like, "I am insecure."
But yeah, when you like cover somebody's character, cover somebody's career, like this is CT's career. This is what he does.
Yeah, he didn't lose all that weight for nothing.
Yeah.
Like CT lost an elimination to Jay Starrett and was like, "I'm shaving my head and dropping 40 pounds."
He wasn't even claimed by his own country on one season. And he still won.
It's like you don't want to mess with that man who like shaved his head and dropped that much weight.
Whew.
But that was most of the drama. We got some. I don't know. Anissa got kind of emotional because people were calling her weak. People think she's weak, but she's also running a tenth of a mile and getting gassed out. So it's not like we care that much.
It's a lot of people talking a lot of game and then like not backing it up. Like I understand Anissa has a thick resume, challenge
Yeah,
wise.
yeah. It's a thick resume, but there's no quality. Like nobody
Yeah.
wants to be, you don't want to have the resume that's like 50 things, but you only were there for a week at each thing. That's what Anissa's resume is,
It's
and
quantity, not
yeah,
quality.
yeah. Uh, what do you grade the drama portion? I personally am giving it a 6 because we did not get good drama this episode, but they put in an effort, and a 6 is a D minus, so that not technically not a failure.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5. The point 0.5 comes from the wigs.
Good stuff. And I
Yeah.
appreciate Corey's look. Corey really went all out. Really, one of the MVPs of this episode. Also, wore a shirt that said, "This is why I'm here," or "This is what I'm here for," and it had Ryder on it.
Like he's in on the joke too. I love it.
Man, Corey is like, he just like likes random amounts of my tweets, and it's like even one of the ones making fun of him. I love him, man. He's really, really just
He's really a
grown.
likable TV
Yeah,
personality.
yeah. When he's not saying, he's become self-aware, and that's like the best thing you can be.
Yeah, he could give his buddy Anissa some pointers.
Switching over to the gameplay portion now. Moving into the gameplay portion, piggybacking right on. Anissa tells Corey we need 5 votes to get Nani into elimination as the house vote because if we don't, I'm going into elimination. And she game plans and she tells him like, all right, we got me, we got you, we got Cam, and no, you don't got Cam.
Nope.
uh, Cam isn't voting in Nani any day of the week. She's like, we got Kyle, and Kyle actively dislikes Anissa. Like he's telling her like, Anissa, we're going into elimination.
Yeah. And it's like, why wouldn't Kyle want Anissa to go down there?
Kyle even says like, "Yeah, Anissa, you could go down there, and if you win, you can get a new partner. You could switch. You could switch out of me."
Yeah. Kyle's like, we're going down there. TJ, I'll see you in the dirt.
CT even says like, "Well, that's a good thing, you know." It's like, like he tries to like make a joke like, "Hey, that way you guys can get a new partner." It's like, "'Cause no one wants you, Anissa," type thing. And CT is a long time Anissa hater. I mean, before any of us hated Anissa, CT's been making jokes about her not being a good competitor, and Anissa keeps backing up what he says, but she gets offended in this moment. She's like, "I'm tired of this. I played in the first pole wrestle. I played in the first hall brawl. Like, what? Why aren't you guys respecting me?"
I think this was like it was quite a moment for Anissa to be like, wow, like, am I just like a joke to you guys?
She kind of is. I mean, like, dude, we saw the daily challenge today. We saw the previous weeks where you just fall off the rope. You just quit. You just quit in the biggest moments. And yeah, you've won some good eliminations. Yeah, you beat some pretty solid players in the past. But when those moments heat up and when the pressure's on you, you always crumble. That's what happens.
When it comes down to it, you and I have won as many challenges as Anissa has.
Yeah, 1000%. I mean, Nani, she even says it like, "Anissa, you think you have a good social game, but you try to be friends with everyone, and it doesn't work out for you." She's like, "I have an actual social game. I am friends with these people. They like me. They want to keep me in the game. They want me to do well because I am real to them. I keep it 100%."
And I don't really know like what Anissa's doing at this point.
She wants it handed to her, and I don't know why she thinks she deserves it handed to her when she's had 14 chances. like like these other people aren't going to give it to you when you've had all these opportunities. Like you've been on the show for 20 years, but what did you do with it?
Yeah. Okay, so there's a picture of you with Nelly when he has the band-aid. Okay.
it's it's just frustrating. She has no self-awareness. And yeah, in terms of gameplay, I mean Big T tries to be the nicest person in the world, like, "Oh, Anissa, like, you're a good person. You're a strong competitor. You always prove people wrong." And at the same time, when they have that scene at the beginning of the episode, Kyle's like, "So you're ready to face Anissa?" And she's like, "Oh, am I facing Anissa?" He's like, "Well, do you want to face Casey, Cam, or Nani?" She's like, "No."
The poor thing. And she's so nice about it.
It's yeah. I wish we could all be as polite as Big T, but we aren't. I mean, I
And
don't wish that. But she's a
Anissa
better
could
person than I am.
Anissa couldn't be like more rude about it. Anissa's like she's like bitter that she's going down, that she wants to get like that she's going to get voted in. And she's like making it out to seem like this is like an automatic win for her. She's like, well, it's just Big T, whatever. But it's like, okay, but you have no W's.
Yeah, Nisa. I just as many wins as you have losses that stack up right next to it, and the losses are more aplenty.
Yeah.
There wasn't much gameplay, but what would you grade this gameplay portion?
I don't know, like a 6. Solid 6, maybe.
I give it a 3 out of 10. It was bad. I mean, she just had no self awareness. I mean, best moment of the episode was Kyle voting for himself and Anissa, just for no reason. And I love that, like when Casey and Leroy find out like who did Kyle vote for, and then Casey's like, he just probably just voted for themselves, and they just start laughing. Like there's no even malice towards it. Like, Kyle just probably did something dumb.
And I don't understand like where Anissa's head is. Like you want this W, you want to win. Okay. Why aren't you putting in the effort?
Anissa is someone who I think would benefit from like a MySpace situation where if she could see other people's like top friends, like she'd be really helped out. It's like Anissa, you're Facebook friends with everyone, but if you're on MySpace, you're not in people's top five. You're nobody's top five except Tori Deals. And you go onto her MySpace page and it's just her bad music.
Oh no. You don't want to immediately click on her page because then her music starts playing.
Yeah, yeah. But I bet she has some good gifs on there because that was the first time I ever saw a gif was on MySpace.
Oh, I bet her journals are emotional as hell. My mug.
uh, yeah, Anissa, sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Switching over to elimination. We're going to talk about the elimination now. Moving into the elimination portion, Anissa and Big T are going to play Operation Fire Escape, which is known as the game where you get your hands and legs tied up to a pole and you have to go up and down the pole while hung up. And Anissa's upset because this elimination requires a lot of core strength, and she just thought she was going to sit on Big T in a pole wrestle or a hall brawl or something like that.
She thought that she would just be like served to win again, like she's been doing all season or even her career.
And that's why Anissa won a lot of eliminations back in the day. She was just the biggest human on the show compared to all the other girls. She's not an athlete though, because we've seen in the past where, Cara Maria's beat her in a headbanger, and she had more size than her. But Cara, she used skill, she used strength. Uh, it was not a, yeah, she was upset by it, and it shows that Anissa doesn't have a full grasp on the game because these are the skills you need to do well in the challenge. You need like being good at headbangers is probably like the least important thing you need to succeed.
Yeah. It's sort of like you know how like Tyree on his seasons he was always like banking on the fact that he's just like big.
Yeah.
It's like but you have to be good at stuff.
Yeah, it's the best players at this game are the Jordan Wisleys, the Blandons, the Bananas, the guys that are like 5'8" to 5'11", who are 175 pounds, who can run, swim, climb, stuff like that. Those are the best players at this game.
Yeah, like Casey's so good at this because she's like agile. She puts in the work.
Mm-hmm. You got to have that height, weight, strength proportions, and you can do well on the show and be small, and you can do well on the show and be big. But you gotta make sure you make up for it in other portions. Anissa, she's big, but doesn't make up for it in any portion. She's obviously not keeping herself in great cardiovascular shape. And the elimination gets going. Big T at first is like a little bit like stunned. She kind of looks a little bit scared, and then she makes her first movement and she lifts herself up and just starts using her upper body. She uses those pole wrestling classes to her advantage. She goes at a gingerly pace, but it's a consistent pace, and that's what matters because she just keeps going without stopping,
Yep.
taking her time, and she never gasses out.
No, and I'm like, you want to root for her the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everybody in the stands wanted to root for her too, but it seemed like they wanted to like cheer for Anissa because they felt bad.
And
like,
yeah,
good Anissa.
A lot of these people do have like connections to Anissa, and that like Leroy said it. It's like I've seen Anissa lose all these years. I kind of want to see her win this, but you want to see her earn it. You don't want her enough to like throw Nani into elimination because we love Nani more.
Yeah.
But if she could beat Big T in this, that would be kind of okay. That would be the bare minimum essentially. And I Cam I think at one point said that like Leroy and Anissa had similar careers, and I felt so bad for Leroy when she said that because I'm like, no, we want Leroy to win. Leroy murders people. He's in great shape. He has a good social game. He does a lot of things right. Don't you ever compare Anissa to Leroy because that is me.
The only thing they have in common is that they have funny confessionals.
Yes. And yeah, that's it. And it really got me upset. It really got me going. Leroy and Anissa were partners this season for a week. That happened.
Right.
The 1 week he wasn't with Casey, yeah.
It was not a good week for him.
No, it wasn't a good week for Casey either. She hated it. She hated Fessy.
As most people are finding out.
Yeah, and back to the elimination. Big T just killing it, just straight up like it wasn't like Leroy. It wasn't even like. I mean, I have no clue how well Natalie Anderson did in this elimination because it felt like they were going for a long time, and it felt like Big T got this done relatively quickly. But that's also her opponent did nothing, so we had no like grasp on whether or not how they would do against each other. But yeah, it was just a gingerly pace, going small strokes at a time. And Nisa got nowhere. She stayed at the
She got
beginning.
smoked.
Yeah, and Anissa is just hanging up there. She has no core strength whatsoever. Like she cannot lift her own body weight at all. I mean, I don't. It's, I don't want to say it, but like, yeah, if you can't, she's kind of put on a bit too much weight, and that sounds awful coming from me, but like, it's true. You watch the difference between her and Big T's movements is that when Big T is putting herself across the beam, she's lifting herself up all the way, and her face is like almost near the pole. Like her legs are almost like near the pole, and she's going forward. Anissa's body is like 10, like it feels like it's 5-10 feet away from the pole at all times. Like she's nowhere near it. She's not even getting lifted up, and that's one of the big differences.
She wasn't even trying. It looked like she like tried to move once and was like, no, it doesn't work. Can't do it. And it's like all I could hear in my own head, like I wasn't even doing the elimination, was like Leroy being like, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? And it's like, Anissa, how bad do you want it? You don't.
It's just so annoying because everyone's just like, Anissa, use your momentum. You're bigger, so you have to get going. You have to keep that momentum, and you can't stop because if not, you have to lift all. She's at least 150 pounds, probably more. I'm not gonna say well much more, but like, you got to lift all that up and then push forward. It was awful. And then she in her confessional was like, people keep saying momentum, momentum, momentum. It's like you're not strapped up like this. Like, no, they're trying to help you, dude.
Yeah.
They're trying to actively help you, and you're just like, I don't train to do this. I'm like, what are these 14 seasons of challenge for? You literally just said you've been on this show for 14 years of experience. You did the first pole wrestle. You did the first hall brawl. Do this. Show us you're a challenge veteran. Don't complain like, I don't know how to train for this.
What do you know how to train for then?
She knows how to give confessionals saying that she wants to win the challenge. That's what she trains. She looks in the mirror. It's like, I really want to win. And unless you're giant bananas, they're not going to rig the game for you that way.
Okay, so she's just been training to do that podcast with Tori. Cool.
It's just the worst. And I'm so tired of Anissa, and it feels like we're gonna get more Anissa because she's on the All-Star season. Well, she's on the All-Star season that premieres in 9 days, and she's probably gonna be on season 37.
No. Doesn't she sleep? Go to bed. Take a season off.
Well, at the same time, like what is Anissa doing in her life that she makes as much money than showing up on the show? So I can't blame her in that, right? But like,
it's true.
She
can't do like club appearances anymore or like anything like that.
Even then, they don't pay reality TV people like that anymore. They don't. It's just that market's gone. It's frustrating, and I don't want this to take away from Big T's loss because Big T blew her out of the water. Big T dominated her. This was on par with Corey and Darrell from last week, where it was just boom. Like you got smoked. You got demolished. You think of Nani being strung up on the ropes on Valid X2, but Nani was on her way. She got tangled up in the middle. She got impeded, and then Leroy just crushed it. Like this wasn't that bad. This wasn't like it was. It was a blowout elimination. I'm super proud for Big T. She earned that elimination win.
She sure did.
And the only bad news, though, there's not a final next. There's we still got another episode or two, which means.
Is there ever a final? I'm just wondering. Are we ever getting there?
I mean, I think 5 teams in the final is a bit much. I don't. I think it should be 4 or 3, like the classic seasons. Uh, it just like I don't like this moment was so cool for Big T, and Big T being a challenge finalist would be an awesome thing. She's on the outside looking in still though because Cam, Casey, and Nani is a power trio. They're sticking together. After the elimination, Kyle, this is kind of gameplay. He tells Big T, like, you got to switch your partners. You have to take Fessy because if you don't take Fessy, it's going to be me and Amber versus you and CT next week. Which is true because, like, as you know, unless CT and Big T pull out the daily challenge win, which, you know, they've won a couple, but that would be kind of a reach. You know, that's not happening. Or because we know Kyle and Amber aren't going to win a daily challenge. That's just not happening.
No, unless it's just like being tall and pretty. That's the competition.
And then Corey and Cam are going to win that because they are also
Yeah.
tall and pretty. Yeah.
Cam will be like, move. I'm like, yes, as you should.
It was a bad choice by Big T to keep CT. You know, I don't know. I really hope they don't go into elimination next week because I don't want to see Big T. I don't want to see Big T not make the final, and I really don't want to watch her lose potentially an elimination to Amber B because Amber B has done nothing this season. She, like, I think she has less confessionals than like people who got eliminated like 8 weeks ago.
Forgot she was there.
Yeah, she came out at the end of the episode, and like I completely forgot she was there.
Oh yeah, welcome back.
Watching Big T, who's been one of the stars this season, just like lose to wallpaper would just be so frustrating.
Oh, it would be like a board flip for me.
Plus, Kyle going into elimination at CT, like Kyle's been awesome this season. He's been so funny every week. He comes in his little real estate jacket, his fake salesman teeth, and he just I'm sold on Kyle Christie. He's I want him to do well on the show. And things have not gone his way. And if he has to face CT, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I hope it doesn't come down to that.
If CT loses to Kyle, I don't know if I'd be happy or not. I mean, I'd be happy for Kyle, but CT's had had a very underrated season. How well he's done with Big T as a partner. I know, like that move where where he showed his whole buttocks basically to the world. That was not good, but the way he's performed with her has been great.
Yeah, their dynamic is still there.
It's a good outlook. Now that there's no more school discussion, we can actually see people play the game like it's supposed to.
Yeah, and maybe production will be like, "Hey, skulls are stupid. Let's stop this."
I hope so, man. I hope so. What do you grade the elimination portion and the overall episode as a whole?
Okay, so for the elimination, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10, and the 8 is all for Big T taking home her W, her win. I would have wanted to give it higher, but Anissa didn't even try. So, for the episode, I'm gonna give it a 6. It didn't stand out to me.
Yeah, I give the elimination an 8 as well. I agree with you on all parts. Like, I love Big T. Good win for her. And then episode 6.5, maybe a 7. I'll give it a 7. It was not the worst episode, and Big T won an elimination, and Big T's awesome. So, go Big T.
Yeah, I'm not taking my wig off for it or anything. So.
The trailer for next week's episode really told us nothing.
Not a thing. Not even. I didn't even get a crumb.
Yeah, I was more confused by it than anything. Yeah, that's our episode for the week. Also, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube at Caffeine Confessionals, Spotify, Apple, iTunes as well. Follow Nikki on Twitter at the Nikki Sin. Follow me on Twitter at the Onigiri. And check my blog this week because I will maybe be dropping an interview with Beth for the Challenge All-Star season. And yeah, hopefully it happens and it goes through. I mean, Beth is a legend, one of the all-time reality TV villains, and I'm so excited to talk to her potentially.
Proud of you.
All right. Have a great day.